If you have a dream that one day you would get to share your story or message on stages and even do it globally, make a positive impact in the lives of others, create an income that makes you feel fulfilled and well compensated for your work, then you are in the right place. I am Dr. Nadine Collins, spiritual wellness coach, international speaker, and author. If you told me a few years ago that I would be traveling around the world as a paid international speaker, meeting and interacting with thousands of new people every year, reaching millions globally via international TV networks, selling thousands of copies of my books all over the world, I would think that that was somewhat impossible because I have a PhD in education with a focus on administration for higher education, a background in psychology, and prior experience in providing administrative support in the corporate world. It appeared that my natural trajectory was to take my place as an administrator or professor at a university, a prestigious job of course, but one that I knew I was not meant to be doing full time. You see, I grew up on a small island in the Caribbean where the traditional careers, especially for women, were to be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, and a nurse. Anything else was thought to be a hobby that could not create any type of success. In fact, there were no examples where I came from of people who were paid speakers, much less international ones. But inside of me, I always felt that there was something more that I was called to do, and not just do what everyone else was expecting, me to do. I really felt that God was speaking to me, and there was a global stage for me. After completing my doctoral studies, I turned down 2 jobs that I would consider my dream jobs because I felt that my inner calling, my passion and my purpose was greater. Obeying God's leading for my life has allowed me to serve as an international speaker, empowering women and men all over the world and really doing the work that I have been called to do. You may have gone very far in your life. You were successful in your career, you have a traditional role, but you are now ready to use your story. You are now ready to use your voice. You are now ready to use your influence to empower, to motivate, to inspire, and impact the lives of others. You are now ready to become a masterful speaker because you want to build your legacy. As I've traveled around the world, speaking to thousands of women on an annual basis, I realized that there are many of them with very compelling stories that I personally believe that they need to share. Stories of empowerment, of resilience, of transformation, stories that would free and liberate them, stories of which they have become, in my opinion, masters in their own craft. But some of them feel as if they have no voice. Others of them feel as if their voice have been taken away, and I've even met some who are just terrified to stand in front of crowds. Helping these women own the power to become masterful speakers who use their voice to build their legacy in the world is a deeply embedded feature in the Speaker Mentorship Program. I once worked with a client who was a victim of child sexual abuse. For over 30 years, she was silent about the abuse because she was ashamed of what had happened to her. She felt as if she was somehow responsible or she was to blame for what she had endured. And as we worked together throughout 12 weeks, I was able to see how she regained her confidence, how she got her voice back, how she was bold enough to craft her story to be able to share it publicly. And doing so fully liberated her because she recognized that her voice was powerful. She recognized that sharing her story not only liberated her, but allowed her to inspire and liberate more women who held themselves hostage because of their past experiences. I have also met other women who were convinced that their stories were worth telling. These women knew that it would be a source of empowerment for other women globally, but they were too fearful to share these stories. It is actually reported that the #1 fear in America is the fear of public speaking, with death at number 5. Can you imagine that? But more in-depth statistics actually suggest that about 75% of the population struggle with fear of public speaking to a certain degree. One survey even articulated findings that about 44% of women said they were afraid of public speaking, while 37% of men agreed. And I'm almost sure these figures are representative for countries all around the world. And truly, I can identify with that fear. I remember when I got my very first speaking engagement, an international speaking engagement, my first thought was, why me? I cannot do this. I'm not trained as a speaker, and my area of academic qualifications is just too far-fetched from what I was asked to do. But as I contemplated, I realized that this was my moment. It was my moment to respond to what God had been preparing me to do. And so I said yes. I gave that presentation and I got a resounding response. And now I actually get to see the impact that my international public speaking career is having on the lives of people globally. I have traveled so far extensively throughout the US, Canada, Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean multiple times, reaching thousands of persons, hundreds of thousands of others in other nations through international televised broadcasts on 2 major Christian TV networks, doing something that I never thought was actually a career or something that could make you successful or even something that could be an income generator, because I did not grow up seeing anyone doing it. That is why in my speaker mentorship program, I provide intentional mentorship, personal feedback, motivation, and guidance so that my clients feel well supported and learn from my wins as well as my losses so that they can develop masterful speaking for legacy building. If that woman is you, then I encourage you to book a discovery call. The link will be in the comment section below so that we can work together to develop masterful speaking for legacy building, your masterful speaking for legacy building career, so that you can impact millions and live your wow life now.